I get a lot of requests every week to talk about concealed carry, asking about what methods work for me or what I think about specific methods. Often I get a lot of questions about methods that I don't approve of at all. So I thought I would kind of combine all of those and into one topic here and do a little video on concealed carry don'ts, or things that are, in my opinion, that's something you shouldn't do when concealed carrying. Now remember, these are my opinions. People ask for my opinion. They aren't asking me for statistical fact. They're asking my opinions. So something I disagree with may work just fine for you, but for me, these are my concealed carry don'ts. Okay, Mexican carry. Now this may seem like one of the most obvious ones that you don't do, but I get questions about it quite often. Mexican carry, for those unfamiliar with it, is where you just take your firearm, stick it in the waistband of your pants with no holster, no nothing to support it. That's of course an obvious no. You have no trigger protection, you have no safety protection, you have no retention. Just a really, really bad idea. I don't think I really need to go into depth on that. That is just a major no-no. Mexican carry is something you just should never do. I mean, most people wouldn't even consider sticking their cell phone, like carrying their cell phone without any type of retention, for fear of dropping it and damaging something expensive. So why would they consider doing it with a gun? Okay, pocket carry. Now I'm not going to say pocket carry in itself is bad, because pocket carry can be done very much in a right way. But there are certain ways people do it that I just don't agree with at all. One is carrying in your pocket without a holster. You never pocket carry without a holster for the same reasons you don't Mexican carry. There's no trigger protection, there's no safety protection, there's nothing to prevent the gun from shifting, so that when you reach in your pocket it's pointed barrel up at you and you hit a trigger and shoot yourself in the chest or shoulder. And I've seen that happen. Not directly seen it happen, but I've seen cases of that happening. So never carry in your pocket without a holster. Always use a proper pocket carry holster. A gun is dangerous if you don't maintain it in a proper, safe way, and that is not a safe way to maintain your gun. Now another part of pocket carry I don't agree with is people who carry in like cargo pants pockets. Cargo pants pockets are usually buttoned down, and I would never ever want to have to go through a button to get to my gun if I ever needed it. So to me, pocket carry in a cargo pants pocket is just not a good idea. Even zippers aren't a good idea. It just increases the time it takes to get to your gun and time it takes to use it. Now if you're just carrying for the sake of carrying, I guess fine. But if you want to be in a ready position, I would never carry in a cargo pants pocket. It's just not a good idea to me. It doesn't make the gun readily available to you. S.O.B carry, small of back carry. Now for those of you unfamiliar, that's when you carry your gun right in the center of your back. You know, that's S.O.B carry holster, which usually has a really strong cant to the right or left, depending on whether you're right or left-handed, that you can reach backwards, pull your gun. Now, I have actually owned these holsters before, but they are a method of carry that I do not recommend to anyone. I personally have seen a person that I knew in Charleston, who was a state patrolman, who one night when the bridge into South Charleston had frozen up, he stopped to give aid to some accident victims. He got out of his car, he slipped on the ice, and he fell, and he was carrying his off-duty revolver in a small of back holster. When he fell, he damaged his lower vertebrae so badly that he ended up being permanently disabled. He had to quit his job on the police force because of his disability. And I have also seen a person who lived across the street from me when I first moved to Washington. He was a disabled police officer. He was on the disabled list. And the reason he was disabled is because during a shuffle his duty belt had shifted, and the guy ended up shoving him down. He fell, landed on his walkie-talkie, right on his lower back, the same place a small back holster would be. Damaged his lower vertebrae, ended up disabled, ended up having to quit the force. So small of back holster is just not good from a safety standpoint as far as falling. And if you're going to get into a scuffle, there's a good chance you're going to get knocked on your back. And you don't want to do that with a big piece of steel laying right against your lower vertebrae of your spine. It's also, if someone knows you're armed, so easy to come up behind someone with a small back holster, take their weapon before they even know you're there. So there's two reasons I don't like small back carry. Just the physical nature of how unsafe it is having a big piece of steel right against your spine like that you might fall on, and two, how the retention is an issue with it. So small of back carry is something I never recommend. Okay, shoulder holsters. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a shoulder holster actually hanging right here that I use sometimes, mainly nowadays just for a Halloween costume when I'm James Bond. It's my PPK shoulder holster. But shoulder holsters are actually good holsters for certain circumstances, especially if you're wearing an open coat, like a suit coat or something, and you don't have to take it off, and you can have easy access to your weapon. But the problem is with a lot of people I know that carry shoulder holsters, they end up carrying with hoodies over them, or just pullovers of any type, or under a shirt, or under a zip-up jacket or something like that, or a jacket that's buttoned up or something. And that just really limits your access. it makes it very hard for you to get to your gun. Like if you're having to lift up, reach way up under your arm, that's not a good thing. So the only reason I have against shoulder holsters is when you don't wear them properly, you don't wear them with the proper clothes, you make them hard to get. Now I do have one other small issue with shoulder holsters, and that is they don't maintain a safe position for the barrel. Now they're probably not going to go off, unless you're reaching for them. But that is that problem of when you're drawing, if you shoot off accidentally while you're drawing, where's that holster pointing? It's either pointing at people behind you or at your own arm or someplace like that. It's really hard to draw properly from a shoulder holster. I mean, there is a way to do it, but most people aren't going to do it. So they are not the greatest with certain types of clothing, and there is always that issue of the muzzle is always at a pointing position and pointing at something that it shouldn't be pointed at almost always while you're carrying. It's not pointed at the ground like most holsters would be. So those are my issues with shoulder holsters. Okay, I'm going to deal just with some aspects of holsters that I don't like now, just regular inside waistband, outside waistband holsters. Mostly it is with just generic, non-fitted nylon holsters. I have seen so many guns bounce out of these types of holsters or have poor retention. People sit down, their guns scoot up out of them and fall out. I've seen it happen many a times. I've even had it happen to me once when I was younger and I first started carrying. So I don't like soft-sided, non-fitting nylon holsters that don't have a retention strap. If you're going to use a cheap nylon holster, use one that has a retention strap. It's just the best thing to do if you're going to use that type of holster. Now, as far as retention straps go on holsters, I also have a problem with holsters that have too much retention. Like I've had holsters before that had these big rubber bands that had to snap over the top of the gun, and they weren't that easy to thumb off. They're really going to interfere in your use of that weapon if you have to use it in a tight situation. Also, I do use carry holsters with retention systems. Like I use Bianchi's carry lock systems, and I think they're great. But I don't suggest using them if you don't practice with them, because you have to get used to that, using that middle finger to depress the release to pull the gun. Now they're great for holding in big heavy guns, but you have to practice with them if you're going to use them. If you're not going to practice with them, don't use them. So in general, don't make your holsters too complex, and don't get ones that don't fit your gun. Be that the cheap unfitted nylon ones, or just don't try to use holsters with guns they're not made for, because an ill fit on a holster can mean a retention issue. It can mean that gun's going to fall out on you sometime. So always make sure your guns are as simple, your holster is as simple as they can be, that you practice with the ones that aren't as simple as they can be, and that you get holsters that are fitted for your gun. And if you can't find one that's fitted for your gun, make sure there is a retention strap. Gym bag carry. Now, I often get conversations started on forums and stuff about how people carry when they go to the gym. I personally carry in a fanny pack, but I also hear people all the time say they put their gun in their gym bag and they keep their gym bag with them at all times. Now, this to me is a major, major no-no, because that bag is not in your control at all times. When you sit it down and you go to work out, when you go to get on a machine or you're on a press doing presses, you can't even see the bag usually. Someone could easily slip your bag away from you. It happens in our gym all the time. People, you're always told, watch your bag, don't leave your bag anywhere you can't see it, be careful about people stealing your bags. So why would you put a firearm in something that's so easily taken from you? My firearm is never out of my possession during the day. It should never be off your body. I don't think it should ever be in any position where you're not in control of it if it's not locked up. Now, if you want to put your gun in your duffel bag, put it in a cable lock system with a key lock or something on it, that's one thing. It's not going to be used right away, but still, they're going to be able to overcome that once they get it out of your care. So don't believe in putting your bags in duffel bags or any other bag that you're not going to keep in your possession. Now, even if you about purse carry with women, if they don't keep their purse on them all the time. That's one of the problems I have with one of my carry methods. I have a Maxpedition bag, and my own problem with it is you have to keep it on. If you're going to take it off and sit it on a table or something like that, you don't want to have to face the issue of, oh, I picked it up, sat it on the table, then went to the bathroom and forgot to put it back on. So I don't like anything that comes off your body for your gun to be in. So I'm just not a big fan of that type of carrying when you're at the gym at all. Finally, ankle carry. Now, I know a lot of people love ankle carry, especially of small guns, but I am a big opponent of ankle carry, and there's a couple of reasons why I don't like ankle carry. One is your ankles, your legs, that is the most rapidly and free-moving parts of your body during your day. When you're walking, think of how fast and how far your ankles are moving. They are at the far end of a pendulum. It's like a whip. So you're really putting stress on retention when you have something in an ankle holster. I just don't like them. They're not safe to me from that standpoint. I don't want to ever put my holster in the place that it's going to suffer the most stress from my daily activities. 2, they're hard to get to. I mean, reaching down to your ankles in a stressful situation is not the best possible thing you could be having to do. And it's even worse if you consider if you're ever in a scuffle with someone, you end up on the ground and you need to reach your weapon. If I'm on top of you and I see you trying to reach for a weapon on your ankle, and I can see that that weapon's there, it is one of the easiest moves in grappling to do a body block to keep you from accessing your lower body. You can beat on the back of my head and shoulders all you want. I'm going to be able to block you from access to your lower body. I'm going to be able to control your leg, take your weapon easily. So accessing your ankles is so easy, especially from an upper middle body position, and I don't have to do it long term. This is not like I have to do it long enough to keep you in a lock or put you in a submission. I just have to block your access long enough to pull a weapon off your ankle. So as far as a retention standpoint in a fight, it's easier for me to reach your ankle than it is for you to reach your ankle. So that is just not a good idea to me. So there you have a big long list of things that I consider don'ts when it comes to concealed carry. Now remember, these are just my opinions, but I hope you can take them with a grain of salt and take them for what they're worth, and maybe expand on them for your own opinions, or see how they jive with what you think or how you disagree with them, and build yourself a safe method of carry based on your own opinions and maybe a little information I just gave you. So remember, like I said, they're just my opinions. I don't want any flame wars over, oh, I ankle carry. Well, you know, if you ankle carry with the acceptance of there are limitations. If you Mexican carry with the acceptance of there is issues with that. So that's all up to you. It's all on you. I'm a firm believer of personal responsibility, and you might find ways to make things work. Now, these are by no means all the don'ts. I'm sure everybody out there can add 10 don'ts to my list. So those aren't all of them, but that's all I'm going to cover right now because it gets hot under these lights, and there's no air conditioning vent in my laundry room. So it gets hot in here, so as you can see, I'm starting to sweat already. So that is my video on concealed carry don'ts.